On today's show, the LA Clippers made it 11 out of 13 games, and I'm going to be telling you why it felt so comfortable, even though it kind of wasn't in the second half. Going to be talking about it all on today's Locked On Clippers.
You are Locked On Clippers, your daily Los Angeles Clippers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, sir. You are locking in with the Clips. Thank you for making Locked On Clippers the first listen of your day, your team every day. I'm your host, Darian Vaziri, born and raised in LA, been a Clipper fan for 21 years, been covering the team on my own YouTube channel, Dime Dropper, for 6 and 4 right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, and now the number one sports podcast network. In this episode, we're going to be talking about how we were able to make it look somewhat easy against the Wizards, the way Kawhi Leonard is playing, and the contributions we got from the young guys. But let me just start out by saying we played the Washington Wizards, and right now, going into this game, we won 10 out of our last 12, and the Wizards just made a trade to get Trae Young, who I saw on the bench, and I was in attendance on Wednesday night. And it was not a very packed house at Intuit, but cool to see Trae Young on the bench because nobody wants to see the Wizards. No offense to any Wizards fans. They got some good young players, though. But we had to win this one. But before the game, we heard that John Collins was going to be out with a groin strain he picked up before the game. And then Ivica Zubac, the reason why he didn't play the whole fourth quarter was apparently due to an ankle tweak. So he was out in this one as well. So in place of those guys, we started Kobe Sanders and Brook Lopez, and we were still able to manage, thankfully. Sorry, that says for Zoo, left ankle sprain. But the overall takeaway for me was that we're just better than them. We are just better than the Wizards. We have Kawhi Leonard and James Harden playing good basketball right now, and yes, you can't beat teams with just two guys, but these other guys have played well enough. And we definitely were good enough to beat the Wizards. However, it went from a 19-point lead to a 1-point lead in the third quarter because I felt like when we went cold, we kind of allowed that to affect our defense and our effort on the glass. And the Wizards were second to every ball, and then they started making shots. But thankfully, we were able to respond. I just think it got a little too close for comfort, but we got the job done, and that's the most important thing because we're simply just better than them. We have to win these games. These are the kind of games that we need to be winning, that we should be winning, and we did. So we outscored them, and we got off to a really good start. 37-22 in the first quarter, and outscored them 33-29 in the second. So it was smooth sailing, 19-point lead, 70-51 at the half, but they outscored us 38-26 in the third, and it kind of brought back some of those third quarter blues memories, from the early in the season where when we were 6-21, it's because in the third quarter, we were collapsing against younger teams and just a lot of teams. But that's something that we've really cleaned up over this, stretch that we've won 11 out of the last 13. In this game, it was just a matter of them making shots and us missing shots, but I just overall think our effort level dropped a lot on both ends of the floor, and we kind of just got a little complacent. Nothing more, nothing less. 38-26, the Wizards outscored us in that one, and then in the fourth quarter, we were clamping down, got the job done, 23-16, outscoring them in that one to win it 119-105. We are now 11-9 at home. I've attended 14 of those 20 games, and by the way, a vlog of the game from the Swell will be out on my channel with fans giving their thoughts as well on the Dime Dropper channel on Thursday afternoon. But we are also now 11-9 at home. So back over 500 now at Intuit, which was a fortress for us last year. We were 30-11 at home last season. So it's nice that we're back in the over 500 territory at home. 17-23 on the season through 40 games. Man, has it flown by. Next game will be the halfway point of the season officially, which is absolutely nuts because it's just, I don't know why. It feels like we're still in games 32, 33 for me. Even though I've watched and covered every single one on this channel, I don't know. But it's a good win overall because we were able to withstand a little bit of a push from a younger team as well. And a lot of it was just Kawhi Leonard's shot making, but we also got some great contributions from young guys like Jordan Miller. And, we're always going to look at the replacements for Ivica Zubac and John Collins in games that they don't play. Brook Lopez and Yanic Konan Niederhauser have had games this season without Brook Lopez, and without Ivica Zubac, and we're undefeated without Ivica Zubac right now. And some might say that's very telling. I still am lagging on that episode that I was going to do the whole answering that whole debate of who's better for our team between Lopez and Zoo. But I believe we're 6-0 without Ivica Zubac. But we've won 4 games in a row now, starting with the game at Brooklyn. But as I said, 11 out of the last 13. We're one of the hottest teams in the NBA, if not the hottest right now. And that's a great feeling. And Brook Lopez has come in and been able to protect the rim well in games that Ivica Zubac hasn't played. I'd argue he's protected the rim just as well as Ivica Zubac since Ivica Zubac got hurt, if not maybe even a little bit better because Zoo hasn't really been 100%. Doing a better job using his hands, making himself big, even though he's not as spry. And Zoo's not the most athletic center in the world, but he can definitely get up higher than Lopez. But I think Brook does a good job of contesting just as well. And I don't think against teams like this, the biggest thing that sticks out, I can't lie, against teams like this is they're just not as good shot making wise. Like you just know that certain shots by certain guys are not going in. And some of them are really bad shots. Like I'm looking at these contested threes that these guys are taking, and I'm like, your advantage is your speed against a team like us. And yeah, they beat us downhill a good amount, but you would think a team that has so much more youth would try to get downhill more. And I thought they just settled for some bad shots that we're very comfortable with that. They shot 38 threes and made 10 of them, Washington. We shot 37 threes and made 14 of them. That difference, 26% from them, 38% for us. 47% from the field for us, 46% for them. And then my 2 favorite stats of the night. We shot 27 for 27 from the free throw line. We are the best free throw shooting team in the league by percentage right now. And that's going to help. 27 for 27 is beautiful. And a lot of it is, of course, James Harden and Kawhi Leonard combining for 18 from the line between the two of them. And then let's talk about the other stat I love. Turnovers. We had 8 turnovers in this game. I'm not going to count the 9th one. That was a shot clock violation at the end of the game when we were running out the clock. 8 turnovers in the game, and for a large stretch, we only had like 4. You're going to win games like that. You're going to win games even when James Harden is shooting 5 for 17 from the field. Because he only turned the ball over twice, and he had 8 assists, 4-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio. How about Kawhi? 4 assists, 1 turnover, 4-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio. How about Chris Dunn? 3 assists, 0 turnovers. How about Jordan Miller? 5 assists, 1 turnover. So you got to love that. It's all about taking care of the ball. I've talked about it ad nauseum this season. When we don't take care of the basketball, our age is more exposed because teams will get out and run. And if it's a live ball turnover, forget about it. Some of our guys like James Harden, even sometimes Kawhi, and of course if it's a Zubac. And when we had Chris Paul, it was a major issue. Have a problem getting back and don't always sprint getting back. So it can be difficult, but we've been doing a better job taking care of the ball. And with the way that we've been shooting from 3, after a very cold start to the season in that department, we have turned it around. And Brook Lopez actually hasn't shot very well, so I can't even say that he's been a part of it. He's definitely been a part of us getting more threes up, but it's really been John Collins and Kawhi Leonard who have turned up because James Harden's in a little bit of a shooting slump right now, but Kawhi Leonard has been shooting more threes. He's talked about shooting more threes, and I really don't think he's taking bad threes because there aren't really many bad threes for Kawhi. You know what I'm saying? So that has really, and then of course John Collins, he didn't play in this game, but he's been really lights out shooting the basketball. So it's been great to see. And so when you don't turn the ball over, you get more shots up, and we've been shooting so well, we're going to beat a lot of teams. And by the way, this game did tie a career high in assists for Jordan Miller with 5. And if I'm not mistaken, this was a career high in rebounds for Jordan Miller in the NBA, getting his first double-double of his NBA career. But coming up, not going to talk about the young guys yet. Going to talk about the Kawhi guy next.
I carry a lot of responsibility in my household. If something happened to me, there would be serious consequences. We have a mortgage. We got tuition. We got everyday bills. Those aren't going anywhere if something happens to me. And I know that's an overwhelming feeling, but I'm taking steps to protect my family by getting life insurance through Ethos. Ethos makes getting life insurance fast, easy, and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. There's no medical exam. You just answer a few simple health questions. You can get up to $3 million in coverage. Some policies are as low as $30 a month. And as of March 2025, Business Insider named Ethos the #1 no medical exam instant life insurance provider. Ethos has 4.8 out of 5 stars on Trustpilot with over 3,000 reviews. Protect your family with life insurance from Ethos now by going to ethos.com/LocdownNBA. In as little as 10 minutes, you can get your free quote and up to $3 million in coverage at ethos.com/LocdownNBA. That's ethos.com/LocdownNBA. Ethos.com/LocdownNBA. Application times and rates may vary.
All right. Thank you for making Locked On Clippers your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. If you haven't already, go check out our new Everydayer Club. It gives you access to an ad-free audio feed for Locked On Clippers, compatible with Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and every other major podcast app. It gives you an invite to the members-only Locked On Everydayer Club Discord server, which includes a group chat just for listeners of this show. All you got to do is go to lockedonclippers.supercast.com or tap the link in the show notes to learn more. All right. So the Clippers getting a 119-105 win over the Washington Wizards, moving on to 17-23 on the season. As far as matchups, we had Kawhi Leonard guarding Keyshawn George, who, by the way, I'm a fan of. I really have enjoyed watching him this season. Solid on both ends of the floor. I know he's solid on offense. Defensively, from what I've seen, he's been good. I think you need a larger sample size than what I've seen of Keyshawn George to judge him defensively. But if you're a Wizards fan, let me know in the comments what you think of Keyshawn George as a defender. But I like him a lot. I really do. And then Brook Lopez on Alex Sarr, who got ejected in the first half, by the way. I haven't seen a guy get ejected in the first half in a minute. So that was hilarious. Lopez was guarding him. Kobe Sanders was guarding Bilal Coulibaly. Chris Dunn was on Trey Johnson. And then James on Chris Middleton, who I watched in a Wizards jersey for the first time live in person. And it was cool to see. He got off to a good start with the first 7 points for the Wizards. And then for them, all that I cared about was what they were doing in terms of who was guarding Kawhi and James. Bilal Coulibaly on Harden. Keyshawn George on Kawhi. And James Harden was cooking early on with 13 points in the first quarter. I thought our man-to-man defense was solid from the jump. Solid rim protection by Brook Lopez as well. He changed a good amount of shots. But it was funny because Kawhi actually didn't get off to the best start. But then in the second quarter, he started hitting some jumpers, started getting aggressive, and taking advantage of some Wizards misses in transition. And then when the game got tight, Kawhi just knocked down some spot-up threes. And, the way he's shooting the ball right now is insane. He tied a career high in made threes with 7 in this game. And it's his 22nd straight game of 20-plus. He's playing some of the best basketball in the world right now. He's having one of those aimbot stretches where everything goes in. We saw this in 2023 when he got back into rhythm after missing so much of the season. We saw it in 2024, and we're seeing it right now. We saw it to a lesser degree in the second half of last season, but he's looking like an all-star player. He's played in 30 games out of 40, so he's still eligible for awards. And before this game, he was shooting 50% from the field and 39 from three and 94% from the line. And he's averaging 28 a game, which would be his highest mark since actually his entire career. He's averaging a career high in points right now, which is astonishing given what he's been through. I'm not going to say it's the best season of his career, but I mean, scoring wise, it's getting there. I just think that he was restricted in some games by a minutes restriction when we were losing in the beginning of his run when he came back, because he could have scored even more. But whatever, he's here now. He had 33 points in this game on 9 for 22 shooting. And it was funny because he was 2 for 11 from 2, which was very rare. But he took some tough shots in the mid-range area, floaters that were weird looking. But his three ball, I mean, he's giving it to you in every single way. Off the catch, wide open. Off the catch, let me think about it. Jab step, pull it with some space. Coming off, a screen sometimes. Not as much, but I mean, he's letting it fly, and it's working out because he's hitting at an insanely high level. It just really is an amazing thing, and I know I've said this so much covering Kawhi for 4 years on this show and 6 years on my own channel, but how much his shooting has improved since he first entered the league, I don't think I've really seen anything like it in my 21 years watching basketball in live time. But 8 for 8 from the free throw line, too. He had 3 rebounds, which he can get more than that, but 4 assists. 4 steals. He's been so active defensively, too, in this stretch that we've won 11 out of the last 13. Because I don't think he was great before that, honestly, defensively, especially for the standard that we hold him to. And I'm not talking about the old defensive player of the year back-to-back standard. I'm talking about the Clippers standard, and he's meeting that standard right now. 1 turnover, I think, is honestly might be my favorite stat of them all. But tying a career high in three-pointers made, that's no small feat. And I didn't even realize that when I left the arena on Wednesday night. So amazing from Kawhi. I mean, he's been the biggest reason why we've turned this thing around. Like, let's not get it twisted. He has been the biggest reason. And it's just, our role players are giving us enough right now. And when Kawhi is playing like this, and I said this so much before, there's a huge difference between Kawhi scoring 25 and him scoring 30. That 5 points, it might not feel like something. It's 23 to 28. I mean, it makes a huge difference. It makes a huge difference. It just, Kawhi, because it just shows for me the mindset of Kawhi being aggressive, being super aggressive, shooting the basketball, looking for a shot, embracing that role as the number one guy. When was the last time we said, oh, Kawhi's playing like a role player tonight, just sitting in the corner? That hasn't happened in a while. We were saying that a lot to start the season. And that's not the best version of the Clippers with Paul George or with Harden. It's always Kawhi being aggressive. It's always Kawhi embracing the role as the number one guy because he's one of the most efficient scorers from the wing position that the game has ever seen. And when he's playing like this, you just got to appreciate it and appreciate the fact that he's healthy. How about James Harden? I think people are going to be harsh on him because of his shooting lately, but we're not winning these games without James Harden. He has shot just 40% from the field and 32% from 3 in this month. And even in the month of December, he only shot 43% from the field and 36 from 3. But I think it's just a phase. I think James will go back to shooting well again. And, it comes in waves with James. I've noticed, covering him on a game-to-game basis in these last couple seasons we've had him. He's going to go through some stretch where he looks fatigued. He's not making shots. But then he's going to get back to it. He's going to go through a stretch where you're just like, damn, James Harden is, turning back the clock or whatever. But this guy's averaging 26 points a game and 8 assists this season. Given that would be his highest point per game average, even higher than last season, since he was in Houston, I think we need to tone it down if we're criticizing him. If you want to criticize him on dribbling too much and taking too long to isolate, fine, because I've always had that criticism of him, even when he's playing well. But if we're talking about James Harden helping the Clippers win basketball games, he's still doing that. He's still getting downhill. He's still making plays. We don't win these games without him, and we really look not great when he comes out of the game. 22 points, 5 rebounds, 8 assists, which sounds fantastic, and only 2 turnovers, but he just didn't shoot well. 5 for 17 from the field and 2 for 9 from 3. I thought he shot too many threes as well. But he wasn't hitting let's see, it was 3 for 8 from 2. That's not too bad. So, again, I think sometimes when he's off from 3, he can get downhill more, but I don't want to be too critical because what he's doing at his age is still impressive in itself. You get 55 points from the two of those guys. They're playing like stars right now. I don't know if we're going to get both of them in the All-Star game here at Intuit, but we're definitely going to get at least one. And for me, Kawhi Leonard is the guy right now. But James Harden, you can make an argument because of his availability and the stretch that he carried us on. We didn't win much in that stretch, but, he still got us a couple wins. You got to give him some credit for that. So let me know. If you had to choose one All-Star, who would it be? Clipper Nation, let me know in the comment section. But right now, they're both playing like stars to me. And I think they've both had All-Star seasons. It's just you don't put two stars on an under 500 from an under 500 team in the All-Star game usually. But it's into it, though. It'd be nice. Anyway, coming up, I'm going to talk about the role players in particular, the young guys. I got to tell you a little something about Wayfair. The new year is here. And it's the perfect time to reset your routine and refresh your space. If you're spending more time at home, you might as well love how it looks and feels. That's why you should turn to Wayfair. It's a one-stop shop for getting your home back on track. From bedding and mattresses to storage solutions for every room, Wayfair makes it easy to start the year fresh. Wayfair has everything you need for a full home refresh, all in one place. Whether you're updating your living room, organizing your space, or upgrading your work from home setup. I love that I could find pieces that match my style without spending a fortune. Get organized, refreshed, and back on track this new year for way less. Head to wayfair.com right now to shop all things home. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair. Every style, every home. All right. So the Clippers winning 119 to 105, making it 11 out of the last 13 games. Shot 47, 38, 100 splits in this one. We'll take it all day long. A 9-man rotation with Cam Christie slotting in for, of course, John Collins being out. And Yanic, of course, with Zubats being out. Let's talk about Chris Dunn first. It was a pretty quiet game from him. 4 points, 2 boards, 3 assists, 3 steals on 1-for-1 shooting and made both his free throws. I don't have anything bad to say about Chris Dunn. I think we always benefit. No, I don't want to say always, but we're usually benefiting when he's on the floor. He has his offensive flaws, and he had a rough shooting game last game against Charlotte. But come on. Chris Dunn's been awesome this year. Solid game from him. 23 minutes only. And then Brook Lopez. Really solid performance for me, just in the sense that he was protecting the rim and grabbing a couple boards. 11 points, 4 boards, 1 assist, 1 block. Didn't turn the ball over and had a lot of moments in help defense or pick and roll defense, Where, by the way, we've played different coverages the last couple of games with Brook and Zoo, hedging and dropping on ball screens. And I prefer the drop coverage with both of them because they're just better rim protectors than they are moving their feet out there. But I like that we're experimenting and we've won games trying both, so that's nice. I like in the second quarter, Brook Lopez, I noticed, was hedging on most of the ball screens. And then in the first quarter, he was in drop, and then he went back to drop. So that's what I noticed. But he had a solid game just because I thought he was protecting the rim really to a nice degree. But he didn't shoot well from 3, man. 1 for 6. And there was one stretch where he and James Harden airballed on back-to-back possessions, I believe, in the third quarter. So, I don't know. Brook Lopez's shooting has not actually been good. This idea that, he's facing the floor and everyone's staying attached to him and letting Kawhi and Harden just drive because they're so worried about Brook Lopez, that's not true at all. He's shooting 32% from 3 in his last 10 games. It's not good. But I think he had a solid game. He was 3 for... By the way, he attacked a closeout in this game and dunked with his left hand. That was amazing to see. And if he can do more of that, hey, that'd be huge. He was 3 for 4 from 2. So you'll take that. Played just 21 minutes. The last vet I'm going to talk about is Nico, who I thought had a really solid game, making timely threes in the corner. 3 for 7 from the field. And of course, all his shots were threes. And how about Nico on the glass? He almost had a double-double. 9 points, 8 boards, 2 blocks, 1 turnover. Really solid bounce back game for Nico. He was a game high plus 26 in his 26 minutes. Batum Italian, where are we at? Come on now. Nico Batum. Now the young lads. I'm going to go from least to best in this game. Cam Christie, it was nice to see him. He was pretty quiet. Had a nice little pass, though, at the end of the game and finally scored. 2 points, 2 boards, 2 assists, 1 turnover, and was fine defensively. He was a plus 17. I didn't hyper-focus on him, so I don't think there was much to say. He was pretty quiet in his 21 minutes. But as long as you limit your turnovers, you play solid defense, and you contribute on the floor to us winning, I'm happy with it. Next, we've got Kobe Sanders, who started in place of John Collins, and I think he did a solid job guarding up, playing a lot of young players like himself, and doing a solid job defensively and on the glass. I mean, not really on the glass. He only got 1 rebound, but just there weren't too many times where I thought he was bad or at fault for things. And again, I think not messing up is a big part of these things as a role player, just not doing things that hurt you. But beyond not doing things that hurt us, Kobe Sanders had 11 points. He was one of our guys in double figures. He shot 50% from the field, 4 for 8, 1 for 3 from deep, so that's not great, but his 1 3 that he made was timely, and then he made both his free throws and did not turn the ball over once. And when Kobe Sanders doesn't turn the ball over, it always spells good things for us. Kobe Sanders has been a big part of why we've been really good in our last 13 games. He has been contributing. He has stepped into this rotation, and he's played solid basketball. He's knocked down shots. He's even made tough shots, not just wide open threes. He's shown a little bit of pick and roll chops, and he's played solid defense and held his own in that regard. So really happy for Kobe Sanders. It's really great to see him have this run and be able to get this role that he did not think he was going to have this season. And then Yanic, Konan, Niederhauser. Man, this guy shows us just a little bit more every single time we see him play. Had a beautiful spin move that led to a right-hand, inside-hand finish on the left side that looked really skilled. And he finished around the basket, whether it be catching it underneath and putting up a little jump hook or just straight up lob city, rolling hard to the basket, catching lobs from James Harden. He was perfect, literally, in this game from the field. 7 for 7 and 2 for 2 from the free throw line. 16 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 blocks, 2 turnovers for Yanic in 23 minutes. Definitely one of his best games so far as a pro. And we really got something there. His rim rolling, his vertical threat, defensively, I still think he's going to take time. He's not bad, but he's not necessarily good yet. We were using him in both coverages as well, out to the level of the screen and dropping with him. I prefer dropping with him because I think he's a better shot blocker than he is moving his feet. However, let's just see. I feel like there's so much for me to learn about Yanic as well, just as a fan and as an observer of Yanic. But what I do know is that I really like him. And I think Lawrence Frank and the scouting department actually cooked with this one. And we got to hold on to him for dear life because I think if you're a vertical threat that is showing those kinds of flashes of skill, you're going to have a place in this league and can protect the rim. And then the standout for me, although maybe I'm being too generous, but he's just been playing really well lately, so I got to give him his props, is Jordan Miller. Jordan freaking Miller. 55 points in the last 4 games, 11 in this one to go along with 10 rebounds, 5 assists, doing a beautiful job finding guys on the drive, kicking it out, 2 steals, 1 turnover on 5 for 10 shooting, 0 for 1 from 3, and made his only free throw. He had this one move where he kind of stopped in the middle of the paint and I don't even know if he did it so fast I couldn't even tell if it was between the legs behind the back or behind the back and then lifted it up. I have to watch the replay, but man, I mean, when he gets in the paint, he's a problem. Like when he gets 2 feet in the paint, he is really, really good. Jordan Miller. I mean, how about this? We got to think about getting him a real contract, him and Kobe Sanders. Because right now, you can't take Jordan Miller out of the rotation. 34 minutes played. 11 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, just 1 turnover in 34 minutes, plus 21. He's awesome to see, man. I really love that. Jordan Miller, man, he's just such a good guy, man. And obviously we drafted him, but you really feel good for these guys that drafted for your franchise. You want to see him succeed. He got cut in the right before summer league, earned his way back on the team, and now he's doing this in a season where we thought he wouldn't play at all, and maybe he's not even going to be on the team, but these guys have all been injured, Bradley Beal and Bogey, and then Chris Paul's whole thing happened. So you got to love what you're seeing. You really got to love what you're seeing. 55 points in the last 4 games. That's 13.75 points a game. So pretty much 14 points a night. We'll take that all day long. It's really great seeing these young guys. And I love that lineup that we have, that's like Kawhi, Nico, and then 3 young dudes like Yanic, Jordan Miller, and Sanders. I love it. It's like a mix of experienced, old, and smart with young guys that are smart. So love to see it. Solid win. Now we go on a 4-game roadie, and we have not done a really good job with road trips, except for this recent one where we went 2-1. And we've got some good games in this one. We've got the Raptors on the road, which won't be easy. We're playing these same guys on Monday, the Wizards, which we should win. And then Tuesday, Chicago, which, they started the season really hot. They have a slightly better record than us. I think we should beat them, to be honest with you. And that brings us back to the home game against the Lakers on Thursday. That will be on Prime. So you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DimeDropperPod. Subscribe to my own YouTube channel, Dime Dropper, to check out a vlog of my experience at the Wizards game. That was my 14th game of the season, as I mentioned earlier. And, of course, you can listen to this podcast, Locked On Clippers, wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell to get us up to 8,000 subscribers by the end of the month. Last I checked, we were like 10 away, straight up, like 10 away. Let me check that number right now and tell you where we're at, because I'm feeling like we're going to pass it in the next day. 2 away. Oh, my goodness. 2 away. By the time the clock strikes midnight Pacific time, Friday the 16th, we need to be at 8,000. That's the goal. The age-old proverb continues. Go Clippers.